Lindo, a very good morning to you. Now, we were expecting a protest of sorts to happen. Are we early or is it not happening? I don't see much happening behind you there.
Well, that was the call, Uveka. We understood that student leaders would be embarking on a strike after that engagement over the weekend with the Minister of Higher Learning Institutions, of Higher Education, that is Minister Naledi Pandor. But what the student leaders had said there, speaking to my colleague Tekoachi Muachi, was that they're not impressed with what the outcome of that meeting was. They were not addressed in terms of some of their concerns, and that is why the South African Union of Students has called for protests throughout the university. They've called for what they call a national shutdown. But whether that has manifested or not, I think it's a bit early for us to actually preempt if that's not going to happen or not. But as far as I can see right now, at the University of Johannesburg here in Auckland Park, the students are going inside and it seems that everything is normal. But we are expecting to speak to one of the NEC members of the South African Union of Students, who's just going to take us through what are their plans. Have they called for a national shutdown today? When will it be effective? And of course, who are on board in terms of engaging in that national shutdown. But for now, things look normal at this stage.
Well, we know, yes, KwaZulu-Natal University is having suspended classes. We know at Wits there was a hunger strike by students there as well. At UJ, where you are this morning, Lindo, what's been happening over the past week or so when this all started?
Well, it has been quiet from the side of University of Johannesburg. But what we understand, Uveka, is that students are facing the same problem around institutions in South Africa, and that is that the previous debt, they've been financially excluded from registering, and they were not actually able to register. But what then happens is that many students come from different places like KwaZulu-Natal, your Nelspruit, each and everywhere they come from, all the parts of South Africa, and they come to the universities without accommodation and trying to just sort out their staff in terms of signing agreements. That's what usually happens. They sign agreements that they acknowledge the debt that they have, but they ask to actually be accepted to actually continue with their academic studies. But it seems this year nothing like that has been happening, of course, and that brings about situations where students are found sleeping in libraries, in toilets, and even on the halls, such as we've seen in the in Wits University, where we saw students sleeping at the Great Hall. But that is the main problem that many universities are faced with, and of course with the pressure of them not being able to register. That is when we see protests that are looming as this one. We see a lot of student organizations, lots of student leaders calling for a national shutdown to ensure that students such as those that come to the universities hoping to actually be able to register are then helped. But it seems that at this stage, particularly from the minister's side and of course from the universities that we've engaged with, they're saying that they cannot help each and every one of these students, but they are trying to sort out or trying to help some of these students that are affected by these previous debts causing the academic exclusion.
All right, thanks very much for that, Lindo Pushekulu. Hopefully he'll get some answers for us later. Is this national shutdown happening? Isn't it happening? When will it be? If not today? He's at the University of Johannesburg this morning, where he says it seems to be classes as usual.